When Radia was a little girl, she became very ill, and her father, who was the king of Tirnael, sent out for healers to every corner of his kingdom. And people gathered round and they tried everything they could to make Radia whole again, but nothing they did seemed to work. Her illness was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. It changed the color of her skin to a greenish tone, and it made her hallucinate and act in ways that were strange. And finally, somebody came from a distant kingdom. His name was Anubis, and he actually had the power to cure Radia. And he asked the king for one thing, and at the time the king was so desperate because he loved his daughter so much that he said, "I will give you even my kingdom if you can cure my daughter." And Anubis said, "What I want you to do is to adopt my son as if he was your own son." And that son was named Zabos. And this is the backstory to the Princess of Aenya. When you look at Snow White or you look at Sleeping Beauty, it seems as though their beauty and their charisma and their singing voice has this kind of power over nature. You can see the way that the woodland creatures like the rabbits and the deers and the bluebirds, how they respond to Snow White. They seem to care about her. They seem to mourn in her passing, and it almost seems like she can control them and make those creatures do her bidding. And you see the same thing in Sleeping Beauty with Aurora. And all of that really harkens back to this very old idea of these nature spirits. It comes from Celtic mythology, it comes from Germanic mythology, it comes from Greek mythology. You can find these myths all around the world, this idea of this natural feminine power. I was kind of tired of these modern female characters who, like the Phoenix or Korra from Avatar, I think there's a million examples of this, where their power involves is just, shooting laser beams out of their eyes or throwing fireballs or having superhuman strength. And there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, I think it's, I love those kinds of characters, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to say, what if we could tap into the feminine strength, which was not to defeat your enemies by physical force, but to be able to conquer them through the power of emotion, through the power of love, through the power of compassion, through the power of empathy. Radia has empathy as a superpower. She can feel whatever other characters are feeling. So if someone is hurt, if someone is sad, if someone is angry, whatever it is, she can feel those things as though those feelings were within herself. And it really has a profound impact on how she develops as a character through the story, and how that empathy at times can be a weakness, but ultimately it ends up becoming her greatest strength because of the way it affects the people around her and the way that it influences people to behave. Love and compassion seem to be a greater strength than just the ability to just destroy your enemies. That dichotomy between love and compassion and violence and hate, that is something that I was very interested in exploring with this story. And it also ties back into her origin, why she was sick, and also ties into this ideas regarding these Celtic spiritual figures and what really drives us and what is really worth fighting for.